Hi, my name is Litzy. I was born and raised in Long Beach, and I grew up in a really broken home. I didn't have my father growing up, so our relationship wasn't the best. So I grew up around my mom, my aunt, and my great aunt. And pretty much my childhood just relied on feeling unlovable and unworthy. And my mom finally got to know Christ. So as I was growing up, we were going to church. I grew up in a Hispanic church. And as I was going to this church, I didn't find a community for me. So I didn't really believe that there was a God who loved me there, or there was a God at all. And unfortunately, I was living two different lives, outside and inside of church. Inside of church, I was like this worship person, or like the perfect child in everybody's eyes. But outside of church, I was living in sin. I was doing things I wasn't supposed to behind my mom's back. And it led to depression. Unfortunately, I got to middle school and I got to a point in my life where I wanted to take my own life. And I just felt so useless and so hopeless about my own life. And my mom would continuously tell me about this God that's so great. And I'm like, how can I believe that in the trials that I'm going through? And our youth group wasn't really youth. It was more of just three of us, and my mother was the teacher at that time. So it didn't feel any different. I was hearing the same stuff I would hear at home, and I didn't have that community to be vulnerable with and share the things I was going through. So I entered into a period of loneliness and didn't have that guidance until I actually got to high school, and it became the darkest time of my life. I got into really toxic relationships, friendships. Like, fortunately, I did meet some good friends that introduced me to a high school ministry where I did encounter God, but was still like living that double life. And I realized I did need a savior though. So I tried to build that relationship with God, but I still felt so unworthy to be his child. And I thought after all the sins I've committed, all the mistakes I've made, he would never forgive me. So I still was like living in that darkness, but still trying to hold on to that hope that there is a God. There came a point in time in my old church where I started noticing spiritual manipulation and a lot of things that were a bunch of red flags. So I decided to leave the church at 16, and I was church hunting for a while now with a couple of friends, and one of them introduced me to Light Life in December 2019, and I didn't know anyone, so I was pretty much just going to Sunday services every week, and I enjoyed it, but I needed community. And unfortunately, COVID happened in 2020, but that didn't stop me from reaching out. I actually ended up reaching out to the youth page for Light Life, and at that time, Kimmy was running it. And I just sent out a text saying, hey, I'm graduating this year. I want to get plugged in and I need a community. Can you help me with that? And she instantly just said, yeah, I got you. I'll get you plugged in real quick. And even though it was on Zoom, we started doing these weekly meetings on Bible studies, and it was enjoyable. I really loved it, and I felt so connected. Yeah, I didn't know these people in real life. And it was just a weird transition because I didn't have those kind of people growing up. So I thought they were weird, but I noticed the love and unity that they had that I was searching for. And I was going to this church. Eventually, me and Kimmy started the process of discipleship. And honestly, I felt myself being pulled away from the darkness that was going on in my life because of her. But I know it was Christ through her. And she taught me like a lot of things of how to become a leader, how to overcome these challenges. And now I'm here serving youth, and I never expected this to be this way. I didn't ever plan to be serving youth, specifically middle schoolers and high schoolers as well. But it's been like a really incredible journey getting to be a leader and not being exactly like Kimmy, but knowing that I'm myself and I don't have to be like her, because I always lived up to these expectations that I have to be like others. But she reminded me that I am my own person. I am unique. I am authentic, and I have something to offer to these kids. So that's where I am now. So I'm still in the discipleship process with Kimmy now, since there is a lot I have to learn and a lot I need to grow in. But I thank her a lot for what I know now, and this is one of the opportunities, because I'm doing a lot of new things, a lot of new opportunities are coming up, and I'm scared, but at the same time I'm going for it, because that's what she taught me, to be willing to take those risks and those challenges, because it's what's going to help me become a great leader. You make a difference.